What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Fish the Moment live stream. Today we're going to be talking about some questions that I've been getting about bass fishing electronics and fish finders, from which fish finders are the best at certain price ranges, how to set up fish finders, different ways to graph offshore. All kinds of questions are going to get answered. And I'm also going to be doing a live Q&A with people who are on the live stream answering questions as well. And so it should be a really good stream. I'm going to do about 30 minutes of answering questions I've been getting about electronics in more of a seminar format, and then I'll be doing the live Q&A in the last 20 minutes of the stream. And so it should be a really good live stream today. If you are joining us after the live stream has been posted to YouTube, then you can skip ahead to about the 10-minute mark. I'm gonna give some channel updates, talk about some cool stuff. If you want to hear about some new merch I just got and some other announcements to the channel, then stick around for this first 10 minutes. But if you're just here for the Sonar stuff and the fish finder stuff, just go to the 10-minute mark in the video and you'll be able to find all that stuff there. So what's up, guys? Welcome back. And so a couple of guys are saying, where's the professor? I don't think people are recognizing me without the flat bill cap. Seeing all kinds of people on the stream here as usual. Let's see what we got. Let's see here. We got Dale, we got Brandon, we got Timo, Kid Iraq, Stu, Roger, Herb, Rich, Chris, Jamie, PK, Kendall, all the regulars. Don't see JT yet, but we got Caleb, a lot of guys on here. So good to see everyone on the stream. Got Quincy here as well. So what is up, guys? So a couple things I wanted to make some announcements on right away. First up, we just got the Fish the Moment merchandise in, and I'm actually going to share my screen here really quick. 1 second here. Let me pull this up. Transition this over here. It is actually live on fishthemoment.com right now. And so we have Fish the Moment merch. If you go to fishthemoment.com, my website, and go to the merch tab right here, you're going to see some very nice OG Fish the Moment flat bill or round bill trucker caps. They aren't the flat bills like I normally wear. They're the round bill mesh back trucker hats. And then we also have some Fish the Moment t-shirts with a really cool Sonar recording on them. You can see right there. And it's basically a image for my down imaging with a bunch of fish on it. And so we'll look through these here in a second. First up, got the OG Fish the Moment cap. It's going to be retailing for $20, and so I think it's a pretty good deal. It's a very high quality hat, has a nice heat seal sticker. I've been wearing these on my hats, the flat bills, for a while. They don't fade in the sun, they stick around, and these trucker caps have been really good. I've had a couple of these with different logos on them, and they've held up really well. And I did my best impression of a model here. I'm not in touch with any modeling agencies for my merch. I didn't have it in the budget to go out and get some professional models, so I had to make do with what I had around. And so hopefully you guys aren't too put off by me being the model staring off in the distance, but I tried my best here. But you can see the hat on head. It's really great. It has snapback, so it should fit most head sizes. I have a pretty big head, and I still have about 2 snaps left, or 2 rings left. So unless you have a giant head or a lot of hair, which I know some of the older guys might not be as much of an issue for. Just kidding, guys. But anyways, so I got the nice Fish the Moment cap here. And again, this is the OG Fish the Moment hat. It has the original logo. I'm working on a brand new logo right now with the company, and we are going to be rolling out that logo here in the next week or 2. And so once that new logo launches, I'm going to be making new merch with the new logo. And so if you are a OG Fish the Moment fan, have been here from the beginning, or even here right now, definitely go check out these hats. I have a limited quantity up. They're not going to last for very long. I'm already selling a few for my Patreon members. They're kind of flying off the shelves already. So if you want to pick up a hat, definitely go to the website and pick one up, because again, if you're an OG member of the Fish the Moment family, you're going to want one of these hats, because there's only going to be, I think, like 100, there's 90 hats available. And so if you want to be one of the 90 people with this hat, go get it now, because otherwise they're going to be gone, and we're going to have a new logo rolling through. And it's going to be like a badge of honor if you have the old hat. And then also have the OG shirt. Again, did my best impression of, I don't know what this is, just me standing against a brick wall here, Got a couple different angles. This is a nice fitting shirt, really nice cloth. I love the material on the shirt. I went and got a little bit nicer quality shirt. That's why it's $25. I wanted to get a nice quality shirt that's going to last, that feels comfortable, feels nice, and this is actually really nice. It's a true fit, so whatever size you are, you're going to be able to fit to your true size. It doesn't fit tight or anything on me. It fits perfect. It's actually a little bit long, which is good for the large, so you'll have plenty of room to fit. I go all the way up to 4XL and small. 4X, obviously limited sizes or limited quantity in the 3 and the 4X, but I got some of the bigger sizes for you guys because I know that there's some guys who might need that. And what we got on the front is, again, this Fish of the Moment name with the Sonar image from a down imaging with some fish. A really cool graphic, and then we'll also have the Fish of the Moment logo in whitewash kind of in the back with the old Fish of the Moment logo back here. You can kind of see that if I turn around, see that maybe in the back right there. So anyways, that's what we got going on. And so if we go back over here, we got the merch. So the merch is going to be there. We're going to have a lot more merch coming up. Once I get some of the merch sold, I'll be able to also start making more stuff like sun gloves and buffs and all kinds of stuff that we're going to be able to wear. I'm going to get long sleeve performance shirts. They're going to have my new Fish of the Moment logo on it. They're going to be really cool designs. And so once I get some capital built up from selling this merchandise, I'm going to be rolling out more and more as we go through. And so really excited about that. And definitely check out the website, get the merch. It's probably going to be gone, I'm assuming, by tomorrow. This stuff flies off, and so definitely check it out. But anyways, one thing that, let's see here. One thing I also want to talk about is that I have also updated my schedule for my fishing lessons. A lot of you guys have done my fishing lessons, whether that is the one-on-one video lessons or the on-the-water fishing lessons. And I've been doing a ton of lessons. It's been awesome. The demand has been incredible for these, and I have been getting some really awesome reviews if you want to check them out and sign up for them. Got a lot of reviews. I'm kind of backlogged on reviews. I add them here just because there's no good review and comment system on this website software I'm using. I don't really know why. But anyways, you can ask people even in the comments here who've done lessons for me in the live stream if you're interested. But basically, one-on-one video lessons, I've changed up my schedule, and I'm only going to be offering them on Mondays. And you can see I'm already booked up for the next up until 4 weeks from now, for the end of September. So I'm really booked up. But I'm only offering these lessons on Mondays now, 4 lessons a week, because I want to find more time to actually fish and make YouTube videos. I've been really struggling at making YouTube videos because I've been so busy with everything else going on. 2 on-the-water fishing lessons a week. I'm doing lessons all day Monday, all day Tuesday, and it's just taking a toll on my ability to produce the YouTube videos, and I know that that's something that I really want to do. I don't want to put everything behind a paywall. I want to be able to put the content out to you guys as much as I can, and so way that you can help kind of support that is like buying the merch, going on to like the My Top Baits stuff I have going on here, downloading these PDFs and buying some baits through the Tackle Warehouse affiliate links I have in there. That supports the channel and allows me to make more YouTube videos, do fewer lessons, even though I know a lot of you guys like the lessons. But it allows me to put more kind of, I guess, free content, though there's ads, there's monetization around it. But it's stuff that you guys don't have to go book a lesson for. So that's kind of my goal. I want to try to be able to put out like 2 YouTube videos a week plus the live stream, and I'm working my schedule, narrowing it down so I can still make enough money to do it, but also be able to put that content out. So just so you guys know, kind of peeling back the curtain of the business a little bit, really focused on getting that done. I've only been doing my business now for like pretty much 3 months, and so it's a huge learning curve on what parts of the business I need to do, how much of each activity I need to do, and I just realized I'm working like 90 hours a week and I still can't put YouTube videos out, and so trying to scale everything back a little bit and kind of rearrange my priorities. So anyways, that's all there. Other things I'm going to be doing, guys, is on-the-water fishing lessons. I'm going to be doing 2 a month, 2 every single month. That's it. And so very limited quantities on the on-the-water fishing lessons. I will be doing more bass camps and fishing camps, though, as a replacement for that. So I can hopefully get instruction to more people. And we'll be having casting camps, fishing sonar camps all around the country, different parts of the state here in Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, stuff like that. And the other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try to put out 9 map breakdowns every month. So I'm going to be putting out more map breakdowns. I only have 9 on my site total right now, but I'm going to be putting out more map breakdowns for you guys on all the popular lakes around the country. So all kinds of stuff happening on the channel. But other than that, check out the merch. Go to the merch page. Buy some merch. I really appreciate the support there. And other than that, I want to jump straight into the main content because it's 10 minutes and we need to get going on this. So first thing that I want to do is, let's see here. I'm going to show this comment here. Let's see. A few people going through. Okay, cool. Anyways. So I was reading through a couple of comments. So what I want to do now is jump straight into the meat of the content. And we're going to start talking about a few different comments that I've been getting recently on my YouTube channel. And so one comment I get consistently is, what is the best fish finder to buy if I only have, like, let's say $500? Should I go with an old unit off eBay? Should I buy a newer unit? Maybe I have $1,000 budget then. What's my best graph at $1,000? What's my best graph at $1,500? So on and so forth. And so what I've done, guys, on the description of this YouTube video, I've put my recommendation for the best fish finder at each price point, kind of. And I have a Tackle Warehouse affiliate link there. And so it's basically, if you go in the description of the video, click that link. And if you are going to purchase a fish finder, it really helps me out if you use that link and buy it through Tackle Warehouse. I get a small cut of those profits. So I appreciate that. And basically what we're going to do here is just go over to Tackle Warehouse, go to the boating tab, pull up the graphs and chart plotters, and then I'm going to pull up a couple different brands of graphs. So I'm just going to talk to you through about which graphs I like from each brand at different price points, what's good and what's bad about them. And so first up, let's talk about that under $500 price point. That's kind of a price point that's kind of a key price point for a lot of guys. They want to keep their graph under $500. What can you get for under $500? Let's say for your first graph, a starter graph. And usually when you're in the Laurence series, you're going to be looking at the Hook 2 series, either a Hook 5 or a Hook 7. And so first up, we'll start with the Hook 7. A lot of guys like to go for a little bit bigger screen, and you can get a Hook 7 fish finder for $349 or $399. And this graph gives you also the option, like a $549, right at about $500. You can get this graph. And so this graph here, this TripleShot. Basically what the TripleShot is it is a graph with side imaging, 2D sonar, and down imaging. And it has all 3 built in, which is awesome. And I've actually used some of these Hook 5 units on during my on-the-water fishing lessons. And what I found is that the side imaging on these units is not the best. Really, a lot of these under $500 units don't have the best side imaging out there, though it's not too bad. It's still not really like the worst thing in the world. It's about as good as my old like Humminbird 998, which I had like 7 years ago, that I thought was awesome. And so you can still find a bunch of fish on it. Not going to be as clear as like your Humminbird mega imaging units, the $1,000 to $3,000 units, obviously. But one thing I have been impressed with a lot with these units is it has great down imaging and 2D sonar. So your 2D sonar and your down imaging on these Lowrance Hook 7 units is awesome. And you can basically compare the down imaging and 2D sonar of this unit to even like the HDS carbons to an extent. Like some of them are really, really close, honestly, in comparison. The only thing is the difference in the size of the screen. Where the graphs really start to separate is the side imaging. But fortunately, I use down imaging most of the time when trying to identify fish. And so I want to make it clear, the Humminbird carbon, like the $3,000, $4,000 units, will have better down imaging than this graph. But for me personally, the difference between a $500 down imaging unit and a $3,000 down imaging unit is not enough to justify the cost in my mind. The reason that you're going to justify that cost is because you get kind of like the live scope, you can get the live sight, whatever they call it, for Laurence. You're also going to have the HDS Live, where it shows like the fish beams and stuff, and they also have better side imaging. So that's the difference in that graph. But one thing that this graph doesn't have is it doesn't have GPS capabilities, which is really important. Whenever I'm fishing offshore, one of the most important things for me is my Navionics mapping. And if you don't have a Navionics mapping capability with this graph, you're at a huge disadvantage. And so really, I would never really look at this TripleShot for the $399 that has just 2D sonar, down imaging, and side imaging, because it doesn't have GPS capabilities. And so unfortunately, that kind of leaves us with a couple options here. First is you might do the the 649, which is the 7-inch Hook 7. This has side imaging, down imaging, and mapping with an avionics card, which is really good. It has everything you kind of need here, but at the same time, the Graft is over that $600 or that $500 mark. And so if I was going to go for a Graft, let's say you could stretch your budget past the $500 just a little bit, I would go for this Hook 7 unit. It has the down imaging, side imaging, mapping, everything. The screen is pretty decent size, and I've been using these in my on-the-water fishing lessons. I think I've used 3 or 4 of these now during my lessons, and these things are great. I can see fish very clearly with them. You can adjust the settings very easily, and they look great. The other thing you might want to do is just go with the split shots. You have the down imaging and the 2D sonar, and also have the mapping. So this looks okay as well. You don't have the side imaging, but it's not the end of the world. And if you want a little bit bigger screen, maybe your eyes aren't that good, this is probably your best option around that $500 range for Laurence. We'll also talk about the other brands as well, but Laurence there. The other thing you might want to look at is the Hook 5. This thing is a little bit smaller. It's actually considerably smaller, but still get the job done, and you can get the TripleShot as well with this now. This has the 2D sonar, it has the down imaging, and it has side imaging, plus it has navionics mapping. So it has all 3. This is kind of like that Hook 7 unit that had both the down imaging, side imaging, 2D sonar, plus mapping. And this is all for $429. So this is a really great unit. If you really just want to get something that's the most standard unit possible, something that's very simple for offshore fishing, and you just want to get something that's not going to be super complicated, but will get the job done, this Hook 5 unit will get the job done. It's $429. It has side imaging, down imaging, mapping, everything you possibly need. Now, the one thing that's kind of annoying with these Grafts is they don't link up to each other. So it's not like you could put a Hook 5 in the front and the back, and the waypoints will transfer between each other. That's kind of one of the disadvantages of these $500 and less Grafts, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But basically, you're not going to have the ability to share waypoints. And basically what that means is that if you have a fish finder back here by your steering wheel, and you have a fish finder up here by the front of your boat, these waypoints will not transfer between one another like that. And that's super helpful when you're fishing offshore, because a lot of times you're driving around in the back of your boat and you want to be able to mark a waypoint, and then you can transfer that waypoint up to the front Graft automatically, connecting them with an Ethernet cable or with different types of cables, and then those waypoints will show up on your front Graft. So then when you stand up to go fish, you can actually line up on that waypoint using your front Graft and actually cast and hit those targets very easily. So in the best case scenario, you want to get Grafts that link together with those Ethernet cables, but at the price point we're looking at, $500, you're not going to find Grafts that link. And so that's one other difference in these kind of less expensive Grafts. But there are other options to get around that. I have videos about how to drop marker buoys on offshore structure and how to position to catch fish offshore. And so check out my channel for that. It's in my Bass Fishing Essentials playlist. And so it's like, I think it's how to hit offshore structure spots every time or on every cast, something like that. And it'll show you how to use a marker buoy to drop on the spot. And that's what I've been doing when I've been going in lessons with these Laurence Hook 7s, is just to get a marker buoy, graph over a spot, drop the marker buoy, spin around and fish. Not a big deal, works really well. That's how I learned to fish offshore, and it'll get the job done. So other than the Laurence units, other units that work really well you can get are like a Humminbird unit. And in the Humminbird unit, in the range here, you're going to be looking at like kind of a Helix 5 is kind of what you're looking at in this case. So this Helix 5, you're going to have the kind of the same price points you had for the Laurence. You're going to have potentially like right here, the $499 unit will have the side imaging, you'll have the mapping, you'll have the down imaging, and the 2D sonar. And I found that the side imaging on these Helix 5s is a little bit better than on the Laurence units. So actually the Helix 5 side imaging is better. And then it also has pretty good mapping capabilities as well. And you can get some decent maps going through here. You can actually, I think, put the Lake Master chips in here as well, which gives you a better topo map than a navionics map. And so I really like this Helix 5 unit if you really want to get a pretty decent $500 graph. This graph works. The only thing with this is it doesn't come with a mapping chip. The Navionics Hook 7 comes with a mapping chip included. This one does not. And so that's just kind of one difference. But I'm a pretty big fan of Humminbird. I've used Humminbird for a while, and great graphs. This Helix 5 is probably what I would go to between that and the Hook 7 for the $500 price range. So this graph here, again, it's going to be the CHIRP SI with the GPS. If you just get the CHIRP with the GPS, that just gives you 2D sonar with your GPS. The DI GPS, this one gives you your down imaging with the 2D sonar and the GPS, which works pretty well. Also comes with a navigation chip. And then you can just get the down imaging and just the sonar units with no navigation. And as I mentioned earlier, you're going to want to have the GPS capabilities. That's really important. So go for a $499 graph with GPS capabilities. And then other than that, you have things like, Garmin's. Garmin has some decent graphs out. I'm not as familiar with how good these graphs are. These this 5CV Striker Plus graphs. I've tried a couple of them. I'm not that impressed with them, to be honest. They have ones with down imaging, side imaging, and the mapping. They look okay. I would say they're about comparable to the Laurence units and probably close to the Humminbird. So the Garmin, I like the newer Garmins. I'm not sure about these graphs as much. I haven't used them enough, but I do like the Helix and the Hook units for sure in that $500 price range. So anyways, that's a couple things there. Next up, you kind of have that $1,000 price range, which is kind of where I would land on the graph if I was going to be kind of just getting into some serious offshore fishing. And what I would do there is if I had $1,000 to spend on a graph, I would be going for something like a Humminbird Helix 8, and I would go for like the Gen 3 with the 2D sonar, a pretty decent screen with the mega imaging, really good, clear graph. It's at $1,199, so $1,200. This is going to be a great graph. It's going to have really good side imaging, like great side imaging. It's also going to have great down imaging and have the good mapping. You can also link this unit with other Helix units, so you can get this Helix 8 on the back of the boat, and then you can get a Helix 7 on the front of the boat, and you can link those together. And so this Helix 7 will just be your front graph kind of up here by the steering wheel, and then the Helix 8 should be able to link into that, I believe. Don't hold me to that, though. You want to check before you get that, because I know that I think I may have heard that these aren't linking now or something. I don't really know. But you want to make sure when you get that $1,000 range for a graph, you want these graphs linking waypoints. So it sends a waypoint here up to the front of the boat. And so I would definitely go, if I was going to get a $1,000 graph, I would be getting these Humminbird Helix units. They're definitely the best at that price range. That's what I would go for. I wouldn't go for really any of the other brands. I don't really feel confident in the other brands as much with the side imaging, with the down imaging. Just go with the Humminbird in that $1,000 price range if you're buying new graphs. And then, if you're going more expensive than that, all the graphs are good. You have the Humminbird, 12-inch Helix units are awesome. The Garmin, their newer units where you get like the 760 series, there's the 860, but the 760 series, a lot of guys are going with this. The EchoMap Ultra, all of these are very, very good units. I have used these in fishing lessons with guys. All of the side imaging, all the down imaging and stuff is very comparable. The one thing that's really nice about some of these units here is if you get the I think it's this one, the EchoMap, you can actually get the live sight. That's what it's called, live scope, the live scope, where you can actually see fish under the water, and you can put a live scope on your front trolling motor, and that is a game changer. That's so cool. I've been able to use that in several on the water fishing lessons, and you are able to see fish on the graph, or on the fish finder. It looks awesome. I've caught several fish in lessons using that. I'll see him down there in a brush pile or in front of the boat, pitch my bait in front of the boat, and catch him offshore. So it's definitely a game changer. It'd be great if you could get one back here and one up here that link together. I've seen also a lot of guys are putting a standalone Garmin unit here, and then they have like two Lowrances that link up, or two Humminbirds, and the standalone Garmin unit, which works really well if you have the money to buy all those expensive graphs. And a lot of guys have just been mounting that live scope transducer to the trolling motor of their boat. And then when you just spin that trolling motor head left and right, it will move that beam and you can just kind of shine it on the fish, which works really well. The only thing that sucks is if you have an Ultrex trolling motor, this trolling motor will spin in circles and the Panoptix is kind of useless. But if you're not using the spot lock yet and you're still looking for the fish, you can move your trolling motor around and it is great. It works perfect. And so really once you get to that, $2,000 per graph range, like pretty expensive graphs, all the brands are good. The game changer here is that Panoptix works awesome with the live scope. But all the graphs will link together, then the waypoints will share. One thing I will say is if you do have some bigger lakes around your area, like Lake Gunnersville or big tournament lakes, Grand Lake in Oklahoma, Lake Washita in central Arkansas, places like that, I would highly recommend getting some Humminbird units just because you can get the Lake Master mapping chip. Lake Master has the best charts out there I've found for a lot of these lakes. I know there's some like sea maps and some other stuff that's pretty decent, but these Lake Master digital charts for your region, these things are amazing. They have really good clarity. They show almost all the different contours. They're way better than Navionics maps on the lakes that have them, especially like on Lake Washita. That lake is pretty rough. If we go over here and just show you on the map, all this area back in here shows no contour lines. It is awful back up in here. There's nothing going on. On Lake Master, all these contour lines are filled in perfectly. And so it's been a game changer for me. I actually fish a lot back in, this is called Blakely Creek on Lake Washita. I fish a lot back here just because I have that Lake Master chip and I can kind of get an advantage over my competitors because I have the ability to see what the contours are doing in this area. So, well, that's my merch. If you haven't seen, I have merch on my website now. Just so you know, got the round bill trucker cap, Fish the Moment cap. Got my Fish the Moment down imaging shirt. If you haven't seen that, right here, I'm doing my best modeling impression. I think that I think I could get another career in modeling, guys. I don't really know. I might need to skinny up on the sides a little bit, maybe trim the hair. And someone paid me for razors the other day. I still haven't shaved. I'm joking. I have shaved in the last 2 weeks. Don't worry. But anyways, Fish the Moment merch is live. So anyways, it's on my website, fishthemoment.com. But yeah, so that's kind of that. So that's kind of in general some Fish Finder kind of what Fish Finders to buy, what electronics to buy, what you need to pay attention to. The only other thing that I would call out that I've seen a lot of guys make the mistake with, and I don't know, there's a lot of guys who are probably owners of boat shops and they're selling you these graphs and they are telling you one thing. Either they are misleading you so you spend more money or they just don't know themselves. But one thing I see a lot of guys telling people is that you need side imaging and down imaging on the graph up by your trolling motor. And if you are going to buy a graph, do not buy a graph with side imaging or down imaging for the front of your boat. Do not do it. It is completely worthless and not worth the money. For example, let's say you're going to go in and you want to buy 2 Helix 8 units. And so those Helix 8s are these Humminbird units. Okay, that's interesting. These Humminbird Helix 8 units. And you're trying to buy 2 of these things for your graph link up. What I would buy is the Humminbird GPS Gen 3, this is the down imaging, side imaging, everything. And I would buy this graph here with all the bells and whistles, side imaging, down imaging, for your steering wheel up here. But don't buy it for your front trolling motor. The reason for that is because you need to be moving at least 3 miles an hour to get a good down imaging and side imaging picture. Otherwise, you're not going to get a good picture at all if your boat is stationary and you're just kind of sitting around. And so the only reason you ever really need side imaging or down imaging is when you're driving your boat at speed. And so a lot of guys put a down imaging and side imaging transducer on their front trolling motor, and it's pointless. It's useless. One, that transducer is gigantic. And so if you are putting that transducer there, it's going to break off or it's going to snag up and stuff, and it's annoying. And also the image is going to be terrible because you're going to be moving too slow 95% of the time. And so instead, just buy a graph with just the like here, this one, it's $6.99 as opposed to $11.99 for this graph. $6.99, you can get a HDS or you get a Helix and Helix 8, and this is just 2D sonar and mapping. That's all there is on it, 2D sonar and mapping. And when I'm running offshore when I'm fishing offshore and I have my Graft set up front, I only ever have it on this view right here. I have mapping and 2D sonar. That's all I ever use. The 2D sonar lets me video game fish and kind of see what's going on the bottom, and then the mapping helps me line up on my waypoints. And so what you can do is get this really nice $1,000 graph up front, in the back by your steering wheel, and then you can get a $700 Helix 8 for the trolling motor up here, and all in you're spending less than or right at $2,000, and you're able to connect the waypoints, transfer them over, and you're not wasting any money doing stuff like that. So that's one thing that I wanted to call out. Another thing I wanted to call out is these graphs come with these puck transducers, and these puck transducers are these not pucks, they're the flat kind of, they have like a neck on them. These transducers are terrible, they break like crazy. What I use is actually use a puck transducer. That's what I was trying to say. Let me find this here. So, nope, not trolling motor. Graphs. Electronics. What you want to look for is you want to find this Humminbird Helix transducer that's a puck. That puck transducer. That's what you're looking for on your transducer. That puck, you can put it on the bottom of your trolling motor. If you run into anything crazy, you're going to drill your that other transducer with the thin neck into the bottom, and it's going to snap. I've broken like 10 of those transducers over the years. Maybe not 10, like 4. And then I decided, okay, I'm done with that. And a lot of times when I get a new graph and they put the stock one on, I run it for like 2 months and then it breaks. But these puck transducers will not break. And I've had the same puck transducer now on my graph for 4 years, and it's worked great. So get the puck transducer for your front trolling motor transducer. It's the best. A couple of people said, have you used the fish reveal on the Laurence? The fish reveal on the Laurence is not all that it's really cracked up to be. I apologize if you've bought a Humminbird or a Laurence with the fish reveal. Honestly, the first thing I do when I'm doing my on-the-water fishing lessons with guys is I turn it off. We immediately, when you get, because that's what a lot of people get, they get the HDS carbon, they get the really nice graph, and the reason they buy it is for the live fish finder, so you can get the the fish reveal. And the fish reveal, what it does is it shows everything. It shows all the fish. This is not the right unit. This one's super expensive. The super expensive one with the fish reveal. They get this because they're like, okay, it gets fish reveal. Show me where all the fish are. What happens is if you look at an image, if we pull up, see right here, if I can pull something up, some Sonar recordings. What happens is in like an image like this, where you see all kinds of dots and bait fish and everything like that, it'll show all of this stuff as fish. It shows way too much as fish. And you can kind of adjust the settings, tone it down so it doesn't show it as bad. But I've found that it's way more difficult to actually identify if they're fish with the fish reveal than just by looking at the dots. Usually if you see these dots, you can kind of pick out the size of the fish by telling how transparent they are, or if they're very thick dots, by the size of the dots, by the number of dots. And I think that the fish reveal is supposed to kind of make it like easy mode, where you can kind of find fish easier. It shows when stuff is there. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a good offshore fisherman, you don't want easy mode. You want the advanced mode. You want to be able to fine tune it. And so it's kind of like there's different golf clubs where you get, and you can get the standard golf club with no weights, no adjustability, no adjustable head. It's just, glued straight into the head. It's 10 degrees of loft, no weights, go for it. And then you can get the TaylorMade M434 driver that has the 12 weight chambers, and you can change the loft from 0 to 6,000 degrees, and you can do all the crazy stuff with it. I'm exaggerating, I know, with the lofts and the chambers are. I'm making a joke for golfers out there. But it's nice to be able to move the weight from the toe to the heel of a golf club, or change the loft and change the lie angle a little bit, things like that. And so that's what it's like with this fish finder, where you have the ability with the dots to kind of make a few more small adjustments. The fish reveal kind of takes it to easy mode, and it's not as good at finding the fish, at least in my experience. I've used it in several on-the-water fishing lessons, and the guys who are in the shops and the guys who are the pros will say, oh yeah, buy the fish reveal, it's so amazing, go buy our $3,000 unit. You're really not that big of a deal. Kind of like they say you really need to get your down imaging stuff because that's really important. But the down imaging doesn't really, you need to get the down imaging and the side imaging for your front graph here by the trolling motor. But really, you can never go fast enough to get a good return from your down imaging and from your side imaging. So there's no point. Just get a 2D sonar and you're good to go. So anyways, let's see here. Willie J. Allen asks, what about a hull puck transducer through the hull puck transducer? Is that a good option for all speeds transducers? The through the hull puck is only good when you're running a graph that just has 2D sonar only. So if it's a graph that like this hook, this thing that just has 2D sonar, no problem. Through the hull pucks are great. I have one in my boat that is through the hull. It's linked up to a graph that just has 2D sonar, but the through the hull puck does not work with the side imaging and the down imaging unit. You have to have a puck that's on the outside, or a transducer on the outside of the boat attached to the back of the boat, kind of where the motor's attached. Cool. So that was a lot of questions that I'm answering, guys. Hopefully that kind of demystifies some of the stuff. I'm hoping that helps out a little bit. I didn't know how to make this into its own video, so I thought a live stream would be a good way to do it because there are a lot of, I guess, inconsistencies in what people talk about with fish finders, with electronics. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people trying to sell you the newest, greatest, best unit. And sometimes it's a good upgrade and it's good to do it, but sometimes it's like a golf driver. The TaylorMade M1 golf driver is not that much different from the TaylorMade M4 golf driver. It's 4 models different, but it pretty much does the same thing. It's all about, can you swing a golf club? I could give Tiger Woods a Nike Sasquatch driver from 2006, and he would kill the ball faster than I can. Well, if he can still swing the club and walk, maybe like Rory McIlroy. If I'd give him an old Nike Sasquatch driver, from way away, or even like a Persimmon Wood from way in the past, and he's gonna hit the golf ball further than I am with the brand new TaylorMade driver. And the reason for that is because he has the technique, he knows what he's doing. Same thing with fish finders. If you know what you're reading on a fish finder, you can make do with the Laurence Hook 2 5 series with side and down imaging, and I can find probably more fish on this graph after tuning it than a lot of you guys can with your $3,000 out of the box HDS 12 Live, because I know what I'm doing with the fish finder, I know how to read it, I know what I'm looking for on the graph. And so a lot of times it's more important to understand what you're doing with the graph before you go spend a bunch of money and get the most expensive graph ever. And find out, do you even like fishing offshore? Do you like graphing for 6 hours? Because when I graph and fish offshore, I'm graphing for 6 hours straight. And then I go and I catch fish. Or of a day where I fish offshore, even in a tournament, I might graph for 3 of my 5 hours that I'm in a tournament. I'm graphing. And so if that's not the way you want to fish, if you just like making casts and you like having fun, maybe a $3,000 unit isn't for you. Maybe just go with a $500 unit, save the money and get power poles and get, different tackle and baits and stuff instead. If you have the money to get it all, that's awesome. But if you, don't have the money to spend on everything, evaluate first by using one of these less expensive graphs. Do I even like fishing offshore? Is it something I want to learn and I want to put the time into? And if you realize you don't want to put the time, you don't have the time to put into it to learn it, just stick with this less expensive unit. It'll get the job done. Will get you 75 to 80% of the way there. If you want to take it to the 100% to the pro level, go with a $3,000 graph. If you want to go into BFL, spend a ton of money on entry fees and try to win tournaments, go for it. But if you're just out there fun fishing, you want to catch fish and you want to learn to fish offshore, but you don't want to break the bank, you're not going to be a serious tournament angler, just go with a $400 to $1,000 unit. Get that. That's more than enough than you'll need to catch fish offshore. The Humminbird Helix 8 is a great unit, and it will get the job done so well. Humminbird Helix 8, $1,100 with everything you need. It has a nice size screen. This is probably good enough for about 90% of bass fishermen, 80% of bass fishermen. This is good enough for you. Unless you're fishing pro tournaments or you're doing a YouTube channel like me where you do bass fishing instruction on electronics, you don't need to have anything more than this. This is going to be awesome for you, and just learn to use it, learn to use the equipment rather than spending a bunch of money on the equipment. Maybe book a fishing lesson with me. I only am offering 2 a month now, so it's a little bit hard to get on my calendar, but book a fishing lesson with me for $500, and then save that $500 and do something else with it. And then instead of buying a $2,000 Graft, buy this Graft and a fishing lesson and some other tackle, and you're going to be way better off than buying the $3,000 or $2,000 unit. So anyways, getting off my soapbox. The last thing I want to do here is just start answering some questions. There's a bunch of questions in here. There's already 224 people on. I've just been talking like crazy, guys. I don't even know what you guys have been saying. Apologize for that. But hopefully we'll go through and answer a few questions here. And hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Let me know here in the comments if you thought it was helpful. So I'm going to roll back up. I'm going to answer some questions and see what you guys have been asking, because this is now the live Q&A portion of the stream. So Dale Fletcher right at the beginning of the stream says, Johnny, I have a 14-foot John boat with a 9.9 outboard running my trolling motor off the transom, old school fish finder with down scan only. I want to upgrade to side scan if I can. The Hook 7 transducer is 11 inches. Won't this be an issue if the beam is blocked by the lower unit? I have a 5-inch clearance between the transom and the lower unit. So that is one great call there. Dale, one thing that you have to watch out for is if you look at the side imaging transducer, let's see what we get here for images, is if you have your transducer hooked up to your boat like this is your side imaging transducer. Oh no, I shouldn't have clicked that. Oh, okay. I don't like going to these random forums. This is never great. This is westernbass.com. But if you look at this image here, this side imaging transducer will shoot left and right off this. And if your engine is too low and it sticks down too far, this beam will get blocked by your engine. And so a lot of times you actually have to trim your engine up. And what'll show up, I actually saw an image from one of these units that kind of showed that. 1 second here, I need to find it. I think it was this unit here. No, maybe it was that. It was the Laurence unit. Yeah, this unit here. If you look at this hook unit that we were showing, see how on this image, all of this here is like black and you can't see anything. A lot of guys get this, let me zoom this in. A lot of guys get this on their graph where you actually, that was not what I wanted to do. Maybe that works. Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. Anyways, so this image here, you can see it's very black and dark. What's happening right here is that the transducer is actually interfering with your, potentially it's interfering with the side of your trolling motor or the side of your fish finder or your engine. And so it's making this all black. This actually doesn't look quite like that. This black image will be all the way to the edge. This actually just looks like this is the bank. But a lot of times you'll find that one side of your transducer is a lot darker than the other side. What that means is that you need to trim up your engine because the engine is actually blocking the beam of the side imaging unit. And so that's one thing that a lot of guys don't know, and that will actually cause you to have a bad image on your fish finder. So if you see that half your screen is kind of blocked out, the image is kind of blurry, or dark, not blurry, but dark on one side, just raise up your engine, just trim up your engine a little bit, and that image should clean up pretty clearly. That works a lot of times. But yeah, that could be an issue, Dale. I'm not really sure how to answer that one or how to fix that one, but hopefully that helped a little bit. You sent an email, picks on Sunday. Okay, I'll get to that. Sorry, I'm like 12 days behind on email, guys. If you have emailed me, I'm so far behind on email. I've been doing way too much stuff, trying to get stuff ready for my bass camp, for all these different things. I've been running around like crazy. So I will, if you are in bass camp and you're on the live stream or watching this video afterwards in North Carolina, I'm going to send out an email tomorrow with information. I found a venue for where we're going to be doing the classroom sessions, and also if I have people who have outstanding questions about lessons and stuff, apologize in advance. I have like 80 to 90 emails to get through, and I just keep getting more every single day, and I can never keep up with it. It takes way too much time. I need a secretary. anyways, let's keep going down. Can I just look for questions mainly on fish finders, because that's kind of what we have been talking about. Sorry guys, I'm just scrolling through. Okay, Fishing with Dan says, didn't you mention that the side scan won't be as important for the front since it's not moving as fast? Yep, so that's something that you mentioned. Sorry, I'm just trying to roll through all these comments. Johnny, on my Laurence, why don't I get a mirror image on my structure scan? Structure shows up mirrored on other side. It's slightly faded. That was exactly what we talked about with this. It's faded on this side because your transducer is probably on the one side or another of your engine. And so you need to raise your engine up, or you need to drop that transducer lower because it is getting blocked by your actual engine itself. Hopefully that makes sense. See here. Roger says, Johnny has young eyes if he watches a 5-inch Humminbird. Ouch. Yes, that is a small little graph. See here. Some people are saying do not buy a Garmin. The Striker has GPS, but only community graphs. So yeah, so some of the Garmin stuff, some of the cheaper Garmins don't have the mapping. Some of the more expensive Garmins do, so they have built-in mapping, but you can't use a Navionics card or LakeMaster cards on them. So that's a little bit of a bummer. So all the graphs are pretty good technology-wise, but there's little things like having the live scope, live sight. Whichever live scope, I think, for the Garmin, that's awesome on the front graph on the by your trolling motor. The Humminbird has the LakeMaster chips, which is a great selling point. Laurence has a really nice software. Like the software doesn't glitch out as much as it does on like a Humminbird unit that I found at least. So there's small differences in all of them that aren't too bad. Let's see here. Gonna keep going through here. People are saying Spot Lock is a game changer. Yes, Spot Lock is definitely a game changer for sure. I love that Spot Lock. I need Spot Lock on my boat really bad. I love everyone I do fishing lessons with has Spot Lock, and I don't. And it's really bumming me out every time I jump in the boat with someone like that. So you're sorry guys if I'm not talking too much. I'm just trying to scroll through comments. Dale, I got your question there, hopefully, at the very top. I'm seeing no super chats, so that's good. I wasn't even looking for those. I mean, it's not good, but, it's I'm not missing them at least. Rodney says, outstanding information. I've learned a lot about graphs tonight. Thank you. Appreciate that, Rodney. And then Tao asks, how do you approach side imaging an area, and when do you stop to fish? And so this is actually something, guys, that I want to talk about with you because I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen for just a second because I need to pull this up. But there are a few things that I have come out with recently that I think you guys are really going to like. One of them is what I call the Offshore Fishing Playbook. So I'm actually going to put this up for sale on my website here in the next day or so, some of the things I've been working on. And I just want to show you this because I have some stuff going on. I just want to show you just a sneak peek. I can't show you the whole thing because I do want to put this up for sale. But basically, let me pull this back up and transition. So this is called the Offshore Fishing Playbook. And this is something that I'm going to be offering on my website for sale. Put it up for $50, and it's going to be 12 pages. Right now, it's only 5 up there, or you can't even see that, but it's 5 pages in this image. But I'm going to be doing a lot of descriptions, and basically, it is the ultimate guidebook for fishing offshore. If you want to learn to fish offshore and you want to have a guidebook that tells you exactly how to do it, what to look for on your graph, how to graph offshore, all kinds of stuff, then you're going to want to purchase the Offshore Fishing Playbook. I use it in a lot of my on-the-water fishing lessons, a lot of my online fishing lessons as well. And so you can book an online lesson if you want to have me walk you through this, as well as an on-the-water fishing lesson. But for those of you who don't have the ability to do that, the Offshore Fishing Playbook is something that I'm still going to put up for sale. You'll be able to have detailed kind of descriptions of what I'm talking about. And basically what it is The idea is I give several different ideas on how to find fish. I have flow charts of, if you're not catching fish, do this, then this, then this. And it takes you through the step-by-step. If you're not finding them, where to look, when to look, how to look, all kinds of stuff in this playbook. It literally is a playbook. It's like a playbook you would get for a football team. You know, do this, here are the schemes, here's the opponent's schemes, all kinds of stuff. And so on the first page here of the playbook, we got, I'm just going to show you 2 of them, but we have my 5 offshore fishing best practices. So one of those is you always want to graph over an area before you fish it. Second is you don't want to stop unless you see 2 of the following 3 things. And I'm going to leave you there with a little bit of a tease. And if you've watched my other videos, I have all this information in my other YouTube videos, but I haven't aggregated it into the point where it's in one solid place. And so if you watch my other videos, go check those videos out. I do want to tease this a little bit because this is one of the ways I'm actually going to be able to monetize a little bit more and do more YouTube videos. So if you want more YouTube videos and less paywall content, I guess, then buy more of my paywall content. I realize that's kind of, a little bit of a counterintuitive statement, but what I'm trying to do is get something that you guys can take on the lake. It's going to be something that you can bring with you as a resource. So even if you know the information from my YouTube videos, it's going to be aggregated in one concise location and something you can bring with you on the lake, flip through, and if you're stumped on the lake when you're fishing offshore, pull this up. I'm going to have images from my fish finder pasted in here, all kinds of awesome stuff that you can use, the offshore fishing playbook. And so that's just a little tease on there. To answer your question, how I graph a spot offshore and what I'm looking for, then we can actually. I'll tease a little bit more. I'll say don't stop unless you. And I'm showing my third one too, man. I'm giving you. Oh, I'm not cool. I'm not giving it up on there. Oh, I'm not even giving it up there. Oh, it's not showing. Okay, well, I don't want to tease any further, so I'm just going to pull that back up, and I'll just let you guys grab that off my website, and you'll be able to see what's going on there. So let me hide this again and pull this over. And so again, if you want to know, I do have most of it in my YouTube videos. You just have to if you want the supercut version, the Spark Notes version, you can buy the Spark Notes version of my stuff on my website, or you can go watch 45 hours of YouTube videos. Either way works for me, but just saying. Let me pull this back up. Just different ways, guys. You gotta make a living. Unfortunately, or that's the way it works. But anyways, got some super chats. Thank you to Mar Fishing, $5. Where do I get info about the North Carolina seminar you're doing, Mar? Unfortunately, I have already sold out my bass camp for North Carolina. And so, this is more merch. Hey, I have merch on my website if you haven't seen, guys. Fish Moment trucker caps with the logo, limited run. I'm doing 90 of these hats, and that's it with the old logo. So if you're an OG Fish the Moment fan, check these out. And also the Fish the Moment OG shirt with the side image or the down imaging logo. It's really cool, really nice shirt. I mentioned it at the beginning of this video. If you want to hear more information about them, check out the beginning of this video if you jumped on late to the stream. But these are on sale on my website now. They're very limited quantities, and then I'm going to do a brand new logo with new merch coming after this. So if you want to be an OG member of the Fish the Moment community, then pick up some of these hats, and you are going to be OG. You're going to be original fan. But anyways, Bass Camp. Bass Camp was actually already all filled up. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina, but I am going to be doing other seminars in other parts of the state. It's probably going to go to South Carolina based on popular demand next year. Going to be in Texas later this year. So one of those things that I'm going to continue to do lots more seminars, lots more of these camps. Some of them might be just one-day camps, maybe even a night camp for like bass fishing, casting, and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to do a lot of these camps. They're really fun for me to do, and they're a great way for me to reach multiple people. It's hard to do lessons with just individuals and reach a lot of people. So these camps let me get information out to more and more people, which is awesome. And so Bass Camp is unfortunately already filled up, but definitely going to be more camps coming in the future. But thank you for the super chat, Mar Fishing. I appreciate that. And then Gil Bruton asks, can you transfer waypoints from a Whence carbon to a Laurence hook 9 in real time on the water? I don't think so. I don't think the hook 9s sync with each other. You probably, if you have a carbon, you're going to have to get I think, I actually know, the carbons might just only link with carbons. Whoa. No, don't do that. Something crazy happened, guys. I don't know what was going on. Anyways, but the carbon, I think only links with, there we go. Sorry about that. My screen went crazy. The carbon, I think it only links with these elite units, the elite 12 and the elite 7s. Don't hold me to that either, though. I'm not a Lowrance expert by any means. But the Laurence, I think the carbons may only link with other carbons, but they may also link with these elite units. I would ask down in the comments, but I'm pretty sure. But you can check that on the Lowrance website or by calling Laurance themselves. But I would check with that. I'm thinking you might just want to go with like a HDS 7 carbon unit like this, and then go for just the this unit here, like the $1,000 cheaper small unit. That one would work pretty well. Or you can go for, if it links with these, then you can obviously go for like the Elite 9 and go for it to be a little bit cheaper option. But at that point, you might as well just, if you're going to spend $800 or $900, you might as well just go for the little bit nicer Carbon 7. Let's see here. But appreciate the super chat, by the way, Gil. Appreciate that. Okay. And then Willie asked, will your playbook be in a PDF format? Yes, it'll be PDF format. I'll be sending it to you. That way you can print off as many copies as you want, and you can just have that for future use. And so it'll be PDF form. You can pull up on your phone, all kinds of stuff. Let's see here. So Johnny, how much are you thinking the playbook once you have it ready? It's going to be, Justin, it's going to be $50. So actually it's a really reasonable price. The idea with the playbook is I want to have a lot of people purchase it because I think it's going to be probably the most helpful thing I can put out for sale on my channel. Like, honestly, $50 is probably a steal for it, but my goal with it is to have a lot of people buy it because I think that so many people can benefit from it. And just with the amount of work I put into it, I think that it can actually help you become a better bass fisherman just by reading it, let alone actually using it and implementing it. And so that's where I want to go with that. It's just $50. So hopefully everyone here buys one, which would be awesome for me for revenue, but also it'll help you become better bass fishermen. And I just want to get that information out as best I can in a really concise, easy way. Anyways, let's see here. And then John says, dude, I've been trying to reach out to you. Apologize, John. I am so far behind with a ton of stuff. Let's see here. Are you trying to reach out to me on the stream? Or if you're trying to send me emails, I'm like 12 days behind on email. I don't check my Instagram messages very frequently or my Facebook messages. I just literally don't have time. Really, I focus on email. If you guys want to reach out to me, just go to my website, fishthemoment.com. Go to the bottom of the page. You'll find my email address. You'll see fishthemoment1@gmail.com. It's the best way to reach me. It's not a great way to reach me. Very hard to get back to all the responses and all the stuff I got going on. So I try my best to get back. I try to prioritize like lessons and stuff like that, and then if there's other questions, I get back to them as quickly as I can. If I'm answering questions, it might take me 5-10 minutes a message sometimes, which is a lot of time to put into it. So it might take me a while to get back to you. So just bear with me on that, guys. But I do appreciate you sending questions and the support as always. And then let's see here. And then Timo says, sometimes I have horizontal lines on my Laurence down scan. That does not sound good. I don't know what to tell you about that. I've had that happen on my Humminbird unit before too. I think it was a bad transducer. Like some part in the cable messed up, I think on mine. Not sure though. That is more of a technical question. I'm not good on circuitry. I'm not an electrical engineer, unfortunately. But yes, let's see here. And then Dale's asking, do they make a shorter transducer than the TripleShot that gives you side scan? I do not know, unfortunately, and don't know about the specs of all the units. Just kind of know what they do more than the specs of them all. What is the optimum frequency to use on Humminbird down imaging when in shallow water? if you have mega imaging, use mega imaging. If you're going to be in shallower water, then you want to go with the 200 kilohertz. 200 kilohertz. I think. Maybe it's 8. One of them is going to make the screen, if you put it on 10 sensitivity, one of them is going to make the screen super bright, like really bright. One of them is going to make the screen kind of dull and less bright. You want to go with the image that makes it more bright. It's the one that blows out the screen, makes it very bright. Then take that sensitivity down. When you're in real shallow water and muddy water, a lot of times you're going to be, if you're in shallow water, especially that has like mud and silt, it's going to give you a really weak return. So you want to switch to the transducer frequency that gives you the brighter return, which I think that transducer is really designed more for like a like salt water and stuff like that. A lot of times it goes deeper and it gets a little bit brighter return. But then if you go to the 800 or 83 or whichever one is the other one that's kind of darker, when you get around more rock, and if you're on shallow water that has lots of rock, go to the duller transducer, the one that gives you a weaker return that doesn't like blow out the screen and make it really bright. I always get those two confused. I feel like they've switched them on me sometimes. I know they didn't, but I don't know why I can never remember that. I need to just put it in here and just lock it in. I just know when I get to the graph, I just switch between them. I'm like, oh, that's the bright one, that's the dark one. Yeah, I probably should know that. But anyways, let's see here. Esteban says, Fish Moment is Fish Guru. Brett says, I'd like to clarify something else bad about the Garmin Striker. They changed the name of Downview to Clearview. Oh, because they got sued by Laurence and literally removed the down-facing beam. Oh, that's interesting. So they got sued, so now the Clearview is not down. It probably just takes the side and then grabs. I don't really know how that works, but that's interesting. Interesting. Okay. Let's see here. Someone says, Gary, if I was a girl and Fish Moment was single, I'd chase him to the end of the earth. This is super smart and retain info equals success. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Okay, well, I still have a ton of questions on here. I think some people are helping out with my incompetence on the frequencies of Sonar. And then Rob was asking, Johnny, do you have a list of lakes that you've already done the maps? Fortunately, with the maps, I've only done 9, so it's very easy to pull up a list because there's only 9 of them. I have Grand Lake, Lake Fork, Toledo Bend, Lake Lanier, Ray Hubbard Lake in Texas, Douglas Lake in Tennessee, Pickwick Lake, Falls Lake, and Lake Murray. That's all I got. Again, trying to get to a point where I can put out 9 of these a month. I'm going to do that by not doing 2 on-the-water fishing lessons a week, doing fewer on the online virtual lessons, stuff like that, so I can start making more maps, so I can get more information out to more people. Also, that way I can put out 2 YouTube videos a week, and plus the live stream, so I can get more free information out to you guys, which is really good. I just want to get as much information out as possible. I kind of got caught up in I need to make money for my business, and so I've been doing a lot of these lessons on the water and stuff to make sure I have job security, which I feel like you guys might understand. Like, I went from the corporate world, then came to this, so I wanted to make sure I was making enough money. But now I really feel like I need to get back to my core purpose, which is sharing as much information with you guys as possible. And so I feel like I've been doing pretty well putting videos out, given everything. And my videos do take a long time to edit. Like, the last video I made took me 22 hours of editing time, which is the best bait by depth of water what you see on your Sonar. So most people, if you're looking at other popular YouTube channels comparable to mine, in 22 hours they can make about 3 weeks of content. And so, for example, I'm still working my butt off getting good content, but my one video takes me what could take 3 weeks for some of these other content creators. So just putting that out there too. That's why the videos have been a little bit slow. I'm going to try to change the format a little bit so I don't have to spend as much time editing. But at the same time, it's the best way to get information across, in my opinion. So we're going to shift it around. Please bear with me. I'm 3 months into the business, and so as I get a year into it, 2 years into it, I'm going to be able to streamline stuff, get everything more consistent, more concise, easier to kind of find on my website. I got a lot of stuff going on, so hopefully everything will become a lot more clear going into the future. a lot more consistent. And again, I appreciate all the support. I know that you guys are always supporting the channel, watching the videos, subscribing, liking the videos. I really appreciate it. Try to put out the best information I can to you guys, and I'm trying to do it all at once, which is a little bit intimidating at times, but again, I really, really appreciate all the support and the patience from you guys. So I'm going to sign off for tonight. I am pretty tired. I was doing lessons all day, so I'm going to call it a night. But thank you guys so much. Again, if you do want to check out some of my new merch, it's on my website, fishthemoment.com/merch. Got Fish the Moment trucker cap with the OG logo on it with the mesh back. Only 90 of these are going to be printed. And the OG Fish the Moment shirt, again, only 90 of these are printed. And so that's all I got. I'm saving a few for myself and for family and friends. But these are the shirts that are for the OG Fish the Moment fan. And if anything, just go to my website to check out my great photos of me trying to be a fashion model. That alone itself is a good enough reason to go check out the the live or the website. So man, that is, man, I need to hire models next time, I think. But anyways, thank you guys for your contributions in the stream tonight. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys actually, asking questions, answering people's questions when I wasn't able to get to them, helping each other out. Always awesome. So I'm gonna be signing off, but you guys have great luck on the water. Hopefully these fish finder tips will help you make your choices and help you find some more fish on the lake. So thanks again for checking out the live stream. I'll be back again next Tuesday. Actually, I won't be back next Tuesday, and that's another announcement I need to make. I won't be doing the live stream for the next 2 weeks because I'm going to be in North Carolina, in Raleigh, North Carolina for bass camp. And so I'm not going to be doing the live stream next week or the week after that. So I'm going to go on a 2-week hiatus for the live stream. Because of that, I'm going to be posting more YouTube videos, and I'm going to be trying to post some YouTube videos that I'm going to be making tomorrow and Thursday and grinding all day, getting hopefully 2 or 3 videos out so I can post those. But no live stream next week or the week after because I'm going to be in North Carolina for bass camp, doing on the water fishing lessons, doing bass camp itself, and so that's going to take up most of my time. So it might be a little bit of a lull in the live streams, but I'll be back mid-September with more live streams, with more great content, and I'll have revitalized energy for the live streams. I'm going to be pumped to get back and share information with y'all. So thanks again. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks or 3 weeks now for the next Fish Moment live stream, and I'll also be seeing you in some of my videos. So thanks again, and I'll see y'all in a few weeks. Have a great night.